Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hey Pumpkin. What's going on, Brian, DJ Evox?
Hey, what's going on?
And then we have everybody's favorite mama, Momma Kim.
Hello, good
Hello.
afternoon, as Brian reminded me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What's that? What's this we got going on here?
Girl, don't fucking play with me today. Okay. I got
Oh,
allergies going on. I interrupted my good morning sleep. Leave me alone.
Ma'am, it is 3 o'clock.
Baby. I had got up and it was crazy because I took this allergy pill, like a 24-hour allergy, but it says non-drowsy. But I took it because I don't know, I've been having these allergy fits this past week. And so I got up like at 6 o'clock this morning. I started washing clothes, started cleaning up, and then I finally went back to sleep about 9, 10, and now I'm up. But because you forced me up at 3 o'clock.
All right, well, all right,
Oh,
that's enough for you then. Um, Brian, I really, she owes you an apology, Brian,
oh,
because if you remember, she was talking all that shit when you got booked for your Louisville debut,
for
and
Kentucky?
she was your
yes,
main hater, talking about,
absolutely.
and then
Oh,
now you,
Brian, not absolutely.
oh no, don't hold back on her.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
Uh,
So let her know she owes you an apology because now you have been booked yet again.
I have.
so
Yes. Yep.
when
I,
is your booking for Kentucky?
So he's going to
the
have a
next one is the.
residency. We're going to speak that into existence. Thanks.
Oh,
We
that's
never know.
period.
The next one is the 27th of September. So go back
Oh,
there again.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
that's good, Brian. Get your face out there.
But no,
Get your.
I got a lot of great feedback from it.
Hmm.
Some of their other DJs actually reached out to me and said that they had heard good things. The owner
Hmm.
said good things. So yeah, and like I said, they are having me back already. So
That's what's up.
it was a good thing. Yep.
Yes,
We're still waiting.
I'm not apologizing. I said Kentucky, and I'm gonna stand on that.
Okay.
Kentucky.
Okay. Oh, okay. You stand on business. Ain't that it?
Period.
Ain't that it? Well, congratulations, Brian.
Thank you.
Happy
No,
for
you
you.
know I told you congratulations. That's a good
You
thing.
did,
You're
yes.
doing good
Yeah,
things.
yeah, it is. All right. So let's get right on into it.
Sure.
We all know that most recently, Mr. Charlie Kirk was killed, shot and killed,
Yes.
actually, at Utah Valley University. I think he was doing a talk about gun violence and such. And
Mhm.
I'm Brian. Maybe you can fill me in. What is his organization?
Oh my gosh, Turning Point.
Turning Point. There it is.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that I've heard his name a few times, but I didn't really know that much about him. I've now learned more about him than I probably would have wanted to know in these last few days. But his shooting, some call it an assassination, his or murder, has really got the political world up in arms. So before we get into it, let's show this quick clip. And these are like moments before his shot. He was shot. Doesn't show the shooting, but it does lead up to the shooting.
Gender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's five. Okay, now five is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
After that, like right after that, was when the
She
shot
did
took
this
place.
lot. Hmm.
So I want to start the discussion today by asking your opinion. Do you think Charlie Kirk's murder is a political murder, or is it just another example of gun violence?
Um, I lean more towards the gun violence. I think the reason that killing people publicly and in such high profile situations
Mhm.
is because of how our culture worships guns.
That's right.
And that so in this case I think now that we know who the person was and we know a little bit more about his political affiliations and things of that nature, and he was on the same side as Charlie Kirk on a lot of topics, Honestly, I think that this was somebody trying to one of two things. I think they were either trying to make a name for themselves because they're a loser and they needed something to live for, or they were hoping to incite what we're seeing a lot of, which is people calling for a response against them, us. And while suppose there's like some political leanings there, a lot of it I think is simply our attitudes about guns have facilitated this type of a thing to happen.
Okay, Mama Kim, what do you think?
And I agree with Brian. I think that it is all about just gun violence. It's about this guy, 22 years old. Now, before they found out it was the person that shot him, it's oh, it was a trans, it was somebody black, it was this, it was that. And it was really somebody of his own kind that looked like him who just shot him. It was no rain, rhyme. I mean, if they probably interview him, he might say something different. But it's basically about gun violence, about having a gun, coming into a crowd, and shooting somebody. That's how I think. And that's after looking this up and looking at a lot of other podcasts and just reading the news and hearing the news. Is really, to me, I don't think it was political. I don't think he got assassinated. I think he just got shot and he ended up dying because it was one shot to the neck, and he just bled out. But listening to a lot of his things, having debates with different people about violence and about immigrants being in this country, and one of the debates he was having with a college campus about immigrants coming illegally and is a felon. And so a guy he was debating with, and the guy was like, it's not necessarily a felon unless they do it twice and or a felony. And he was like, no, if they come illegally, it's illegal. And I'm like, this man might be a little crazy. So just looking more and listening to some of his debates, and I'm like, not saying, and a lot of people believe what he was saying, but I don't think he got assassinated. I think he got killed by a gun that the person came in. His intent was to shoot him. I don't know if he was intending to kill him because I'm like, you got shot in the neck. Who would have thought like, oh damn, you got shot in the neck? A lot of people survive getting shot in the head. People survive, but you got shot in the neck. And was he a expert shooter? Like, did he shoot him to kill him, or did he shoot him to get his face and name out there? Ooh, we
So
won't know.
I would agree with you guys, and I would say that I believe that it also is a uh, just an act of gun violence. However, it's become a political event.
Yeah,
Um,
very much so. Yeah, I will
yeah,
certainly agree with that.
but
Mhm.
it's interesting enough to me that, and more so ironic that he was giving a talk or a speech about or answering questions, a question and answer about gun
Mhm.
violence, and here, you know what I'm saying, and here he is getting shot, and I'm sure, I mean, the hope was that he got, if he did get shot, that he would still live through it, because I remember hearing that he got shot and then later hearing that he ended up dying. Now what's funny to me, not funny literally, just interesting, is that the aftermath of this whole situation. But
Mhm.
before I get into that, because I had to really look into who he was, because initially, and I'll be honest, at first when I was hearing it and hearing some of the dialogue and narratives about people saying, oh, you know, some unfavorable things, and I had to keep in mind that this, at the end of the day, somebody died, if that makes sense. And you have a lot of people, on social media saying, oh, he deserved it, this, that, and the third, all those type of things. I had to keep in mind that somebody died.
That's right.
At the end of the day, despite what it's freedom of speech, and you have the right to, say, say how you feel and express how you feel. And you really shouldn't get killed for that, if that makes sense. Because if that's the case, then you have others that may be speaking in accordance to some of our beliefs, and should they be killed? Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily think this was the answer, but I will admit that I felt a way after hearing some of his rhetoric. So I want to play a little bit of that real quick.
Has no problem putting his true beliefs about anyone who isn't a white rabbit conservative like him on full display.
We're gonna remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian. See a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman. I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? Or is she there because of affirmative action? Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. Period. End of story. This guy is not worthy of a national holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really hard. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52. I'm going to trust the Lord. I know what we're saying is true. I was disappointed because I said, listen, guys, you could hate what I'm doing. You could criticize it. You live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist. Okay? I live what I believe. What do I do?
So even after hearing that, it didn't change my opinion, but I was kind of like, wow. You know what I'm saying? That you're able to speak this freely. It is a free country, supposedly freedom of speech. However, it was kind of eye opening. Just that, but this is also what I've been saying, and he's been doing this probably long before Trump got into office. However, this type of speech and type of rhetoric is what some are more comfortable expressing now more than ever, because there's no repercussions for it. However, I say there's no repercussions, but I'm sure he probably never thought that in him expressing how he feels and talking about these things, it would cost him his life. Do you know what I'm saying? But, and I don't know if that will change others' attitudes about it. Who knows? Who knows? But I just keep going back to, no matter how we feel about the things that he said, somebody still lost their life. And I don't know. I don't think that's worth celebrating as many are seeming to do. Do you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem right to celebrate the death of somebody. I don't know. What say you?
Celebrate. Yeah, I agree with you. However, failure to mourn is not synonymous with celebrating somebody's death. And I think that is kind of a big differentiator that I don't, that is kind of a blurry line right now that people aren't thinking objectively about. When I say I don't care that Charlie Kirk was murdered, I don't. But that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily celebrating it. He was a terrible person, and do I think the world was a better place without him? Yeah. Do I feel for the people that were around him that are probably feeling a tremendous loss? Yeah, sure. But as a loss to society, I don't necessarily see it that way. But so that, like I said, it's a pretty blurry line right now, and I think people are struggle to be objective with it when they fall on one side or the other. But yeah, I agree. Celebrating it, I've definitely seen some that are just straight up laughing, taking actual joy out of the situation, and that's not. That's a little sociopathic, if we're honest. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I
So
mean,
what do you
I'll
think?
tell you one thing, Brian, because he had a kid, he had a wife. So in that space, their mourning because they loved him as their father, their husband. So in that space, but I think as the part of the things that he believed in and the things that he would say without even having a second thought of saying it, that is the part that I was like, now, like I said, I've never heard of this guy really till we just started talking about him and then looking and doing research and like, oh, this man is really bad. But a lot of people followed him and a lot of people believed in the things that he said. And it's people that you even work next to or you walk past that believe in that same thought. So
Absolutely.
so long, Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. Why do you think there is so much emphasis placed on this particular shooting or murder?
It depends on which side you're on. I'd say on the right, this probably isn't um, news to anybody that's watching this. Certainly none of us that are in this, the three of us that are talking right now.
Mhm.
But there, especially on the right, there is a desire to feel. It is the white people tendency to want to feel like victims. Um, the mass persecution of the majority, which is a complete fallacy. It doesn't exist. It isn't a real thing. But when you throw in white people, when you throw in Christian people, when you throw in all of those things together, those people love to feel as if they are being slighted somehow by society, when in reality, everything about society is as it is because they are the majority and they created it that way. But in this case, this is this is a turning point where they can say, see, we are the victims, we are, in danger, we are being attacked, and that is why people are so, that's why they feel so strongly about this. And I think a big part on the other side, that with the fact that we had a president who immediately got on television and said that this was the radical left that did this, even though we found out later that that wasn't true. He also had never retracted that statement. But the fact that the right so quickly turned, their rhetoric turned very much against the left, but not just that, but it turned violently against the left. Where you see people talking about the left has declared war on us and things of that nature, and that was where I was looking into this beforehand, and for them to say that we started a war, I no. We did not start this. This is something that this has been long going in the other direction, whether we want to talk about lynching in the United States. And yeah, there are some white people on this list, but this list goes on and on and on and on. And that is, not taking into consideration the fact that we don't know about a number of lynchings that took place. These are just the noteworthy ones. And I want to keep scrolling, and it never stops. And then when we look at statistics like this, where from 1882 to 1930, 2% of people were lynched because they insulted a white person. That's fucking stupid. And we all know that, and nobody wants to talk about that. Or the fact that 24% of people were lynched for no good reason whatsoever. Or if we want to talk about examples of mass violence against, racial groups, that's another ridiculously long list. Or let's talk about the history of violence against the LGBTQ community in the United States. That's another list that just keeps going and going and going and going. So for them to sit and say that we had something to do with starting anything is absolutely asinine. But they want to feel like victims so bad that and nobody's going to fact check them either. That's the other part of this. And I know that none of the people on that list are ever going to see anything that I have to say, but that that is the whole crux of this. That's why people are so up in arms about this, because they want to feel like victims so bad, and this is one that they can latch onto and use it to say, "See, we actually are victims," even though they're not.
I completely agree with everything you're saying, Brian, and I think it's interesting that President Trump, you know, initially came out and said, you know, it was the left and never retracted the statement. And I think that was purposely done because, A,
Absolutely.
a lot of people are not going to fact check. So once it's been said, and especially when he says it, excuse me, his following is going to take that for face value and never go back to make sure it's true or not.
Yep.
And so that in itself, to your point about starting a war or a riot, you know, it those that's how these things happen because people get in their minds that this is was real. What was said was the law, so to speak, and so we need to believe this and we need to act accordingly based off of what we heard. And that's the unfortunate part about this. I don't. I have to be honest. I was happy that it was one of his own
Yeah,
that
I
shot
agree.
and killed him. Um, Not to contradict myself that he lost his life, but I was glad it wasn't,
Yeah,
a black or a brown person that did it.
Mhm.
Um,
yeah,
and but I just don't. I personally don't like all the attention. Not that it matters, but that it's getting, um, as if he was almost like he was the president, so to speak. And then I think about all the blacks that have lost their lives, and it's washed over. You know, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, um, the list goes on, and it's almost like we talk about them right then. They get a little bit of coverage, but
yeah,
then even the narrative around their deaths are almost like they died, but if that makes sense. And then
yep,
he's spoken as if he's like a national hero and like he's done so much for the country and like he's done, all these things. And and again I say, he's speaking the language that a lot of people feel and
Yep.
is and maybe didn't feel comfortable saying or scared to say or what have you. Um, and I just say that, maybe, just maybe, they won't feel empowered to speak this same rhetoric as a result of seeing what happened to him. I don't condone gun violence by no means, but I say though it's a cautionary tale to listen. There are consequences for your actions, you
Yep.
know. And I know some will say, "Well, fuck it, I'm gonna roll with it, and I'm gonna still talk my talk, and all that kind of stuff," and that's fine. But this is a telltale sign that even people that look like you don't always agree with the shenanigans. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? And I think that's I don't know, that was the bigger piece for me.
Yep.
I don't agree with you at all, to be perfectly honest. I think this is, I think they won't take that message away from it. And in fact, even the fact that it was not somebody on the left that did this, there's a very, like, we are, the society right now is a powder keg. It's ready to explode, and we've already seen these people don't care about facts. They don't care about the getting, the right version of things. We are in danger of Charlie Kirk or somebody similar being a martyr for their cause. And I think that is much more realistic than any of them taking away a lesson that, hey, if I speak like this could get me killed. In fact, they want that to happen. They want to have themselves be the savior of all white people, for something like that to happen. I think that's far more of a danger than somebody actually taking any kind of a lesson away from this. Not trying to just, I'm sorry, I'm
No,
trying
no, no.
to
Listen.
argue with you.
I value your opposing view on it. because you made a good point. So
Yep.
I can't if I take anything away from that. I guess mine is based off of hope, um, based off
Yeah.
of and maybe not reality. Could be a little naivety on my part. But yeah,
But I think, Brian, when you say it like that, you now think about it. Okay, he's gone. Who's going to take his spot? Because it's not going away. So it's like you too said, Mario, the people that was in the closet or sat behind and didn't really say anything, now they're probably gonna be out there like, okay, he's dead. I'm gonna take his space. We're not gonna stop. We still gonna spread this hatred. We still gonna believe in, oh, this black person got this job because of this, not because of their skills, not because they're educated, not because of anything else, but only because they're a person of color. That's not going to go away. So he died. Somebody else is going to take his place and might even be louder with it. Like I
Yep.
said, I work with people did not know this is how they felt, and I'm like, oh, really? But they've been quiet. This man passed away. And I was like, oh my god, I'm in a bad mood. My mentor passed away. Your mentor. So now I'm looking. I'm like, so you think the only reason why I'm here and I'm your boss is because I'm a black woman?
you
But
mean because you're
never.
you got
Hmm?
special treatment as a black woman?
Yes,
Right. She was an affirmative action hire.
yes. So never ever would have thought that's how they felt until this happened. So now people are getting comfortable. I'm like, before all of this Trump, before Charlie Kirkland, a lot of people of non-color never really spoke their mind. Like, this is how this Karen and Ken came about. Is they're being very vocal now. They're saying crazy stuff. They're hitting people. Like, you just smacked this black woman because she broke in line. Like, what? Before, years ago, it would be like, excuse me. They are getting very, very vocal now. So every day it's a Karen or a Ken situation. Is
And the,
and they're getting more vocal.
and to your point, it's becoming more accepted, and there's no repercussions for it. So that's
Yes,
why I feel more comfortable doing so. Um,
yes.
Again, mm, it's just interesting the aftermath of this whole situation and how it's grown legs and how it became a left versus the right and how it became of course a race situation now and all those type of things that and it could just be that somebody didn't merely agree with what he was saying and I'd be curious to know why what was this young man's motive for doing so or if he had motive. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think Brian, you said kind of touched on something earlier though, um, about this not changing people's opinion of speaking their mind and things like that nature. Because then it brings me back to like some of the was it Middle Eastern, like Iran, Iraq, uh, areas where those people to die defending your country or something like that is a badge of honor. So then I have to wonder: will some people, as they already made him out to be a hero, would some, to your point, Momma Kim, about somebody wanting to follow in his footsteps? That hey, somebody else may volunteer as tribute to say to get out there and speak these words because and if they get shot, listen, they'll feel like they died serving their
Yep.
country, so to speak. And that's sad. It's really sad
Absolutely.
that has
Yep.
become it's becoming more normalized
Yep.
than I ever wanted to believe that it was. You always feel that people may have an opinion or people may feel a certain way and everything like that. But and I've said this again since the beginning or since the re-election. Hey, he is giving people balls, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word,
Yep.
to
About
really step out of, and say what they want to say, act however they want to act,
that's right.
because they know there's no repercussions for it. Like I
That's
can
right.
do what I want to do, treat you how I want to, belittle
Yep.
you if I choose to, and what you gonna do to me?
Man, that's right.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
is so right.
that's scary.
It
That's
is very scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Do
what do you do? I mean, because it's if you watch, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. All of these things you see it happening daily, daily of cases where these people are not even getting in trouble. Like you walk in that neighborhood, a neighborhood that you live in, and you get attacked,
hmm
and nothing is happening. The police pull up, is the black person fault. Like, sir, I live two streets down. What are you talking about? But it's nothing. It is like it's getting scarier and scarier every day. It's like, okay, do I really even want to go outside? If I do, just gotta be on guard. You gotta watch. If you do bump somebody, you gotta be ready. Excuse me, sorry. It just it's just weird to me now. So
Brian, you were getting ready to say something?
I was just gonna say, do you? This Mario, this is specifically directed to you because I think I have a grasp of your spirituality, for lack of a better words, than Mama Kim. But Mama Kim, you're definitely welcome to chime in as well.
You
It's
recognize
no
that I'm
it's no
spiritual. Thank
it's no secret that I am not religiously affiliated in any way, and therefore, I suppose that gives me a bit of a disconnect towards Charlie Kirk, and that he and I disagreed on basically everything. However, I do know people who have, because he was prominent in calling himself a Christian, although we could certainly debate whether he actually was very much of a Christian, because being that he was just a terrible person. Um, do you feel that him being Christian and you sharing some of those beliefs, does that make this harder for you to analyze?
Not at all. Not at all. 'Cause I feel like I can look at it in its totality, with an unbiased point of view. Because and then also, and I'm glad you mentioned the Christian aspect of it, because if you think about it, that's kind of what a lot of Republicans are resting their messages on, is
Yep.
about Christianity, and all, and everything they're trying to get rid of is based off of Christianity and stuff like that. And so, and I don't necessarily agree with those things.
Yeah.
Um, I find it interesting that so many are using Christianity as a crutch for their actions. And it just brings back that people naturally I say this even about work, like when it's evaluation time. If you value the associate, you can make the metrics fit the person. If you don't like them, you'll make the metrics fit the person, if that makes sense. So people rewrite the Bible to fit their narrative all the time.
narrative.
It's not right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You interpret it to fit your what's right for you. Do you know what I'm saying? You may, if you think about it, you have a lot of these politicians speaking out against homosexuality. However, living very closeted lives. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you'll speak out front talking about Christianity and abolish homosexuality because of Christianity, but yet you're doing some of these same things. So um, I just think it's a case of people rewriting the the narrative to fit your life.
Yeah.
Nope, I agree.
So
Okay. And the reason I ask that is, like I said, I do know at least one person who, um, black gay guy who is very religious, and he didn't say it explicitly, but from a conversation, like I could tell, when we were talking that day, he was like, "I don't want to talk about Charlie Kirk," and I was like, Okay, I wasn't going to bring that up, but he couldn't help himself, and then from context, I could kind of gather that the religious aspect of it was complicated for him, and I respect that. I can see that why that would be challenging, but I was just curious.
Yeah. No, that it doesn't make it challenging for me because then I even have to go back to even, black people rewrite the Bible and the passages of the Bible to fit their own narrative. So this would be no this to me this is no different.
Gotcha.
Everybody has a high horse to stand up on, and they live in glass houses and throw stones.
Indeed.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, guys, we're gonna get on up out of here, but I think that was a great discussion.
Yeah, it was good talk.
It really
you,
was.
we don't know. We don't know if your eyes was open or not. But anyway,
Wait, you better leave me alone. My
uh,
eyes are open.
thank you everyone for joining us. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you guys soon. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.